earnest, wrong, but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her.
Greg Gutfeld didn't simply enter the political conversation. He barreled into it with force. And standing squarely in the center of that collision was Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, a figure known for viral moments and confident, headline-ready sound bites. But this time, the dynamic flipped. Instead of driving the narrative, she found herself responding to it. So what exactly did Greg say that left journalists stunned, sent social media into overdrive, and ignited nonstop online debate?
Is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this. The Republican caucus threatened my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation.
What Gutfeld aimed at Alexandria Ocasio Cortez wasn't a standard political critique. It was a full-scale satirical takedown delivered with late-night precision. Each joke landed cleanly, drawing laughter that felt unavoidable. AOC has built a reputation as one of Congress's most visible figures, constantly in the spotlight without ever needing to seek it out. But Greg's commentary did more than entertain. By reframing her dramatic style through humor, he transformed her signature delivery into something audiences couldn't stop watching, keeping viewers engaged from start to finish.
Gets along with Bernie is because she's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, you know, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983. So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate on half opinions. Like, what if we get rid of cash bail? Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? You have rapists and killers, you know, finding sanctuary, safe haven. What?
If you're enjoying this breakdown, go ahead and hit subscribe. It helps more than you might expect. That exaggerated enthusiasm mirrors the larger-than-life tone AOC often projects. Big ideas, sweeping promises, and bold visions launched in every direction. Greg Gutfeld watches it all with a knowing grin, and that's when the image begins to crack. To him, it doesn't come across as grounded leadership, but as theatrical presentation dressed up as progress. Rather than standing on the sidelines, Greg steps forward and punctures the moment with a sharp one-liner, turning grand ambition into something that suddenly feels improvised and unstable.
So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate on half opinions. Like, what if we get rid of cash bail? Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? You have rapists and killers, you know, finding sanctuary, safe haven.
What makes the exchange so striking is how familiar it feels. AOC enters with confidence, presenting herself as a champion of the people, offering expansive visions and sweeping change. Then Greg arrives, not with dense policy charts or technical arguments, but with sharp humor and perfectly timed observations. He plays the role of the skeptic who refuses to let big ideas pass without scrutiny. With each joke, her bold crusade shrinks, becoming less a movement and more a setup for his next cutting remark.
I love how she explains it. They're not meant for you, right? But then you have to ask, okay, then what is this debt forgiveness? Who is it meant for? And when you look at the data, it's upper, white, middle-class, liberal women. This ain't welfare, right? These are well-to-do people. It's a bribe for Democrats on the backs of plumbers, truckers, and everyone else who actually does a real job, unlike me. AOC is the symbol of the entitled sponge. She complains about student loans, but she owns a
Greg avoids drowning the audience in numbers or complex data. Instead, he takes AOC's most polished speeches and reframes them through satire. What once sounded ambitious suddenly feels unrealistic, like grand spending plans imagined without practical limits. But the humor cuts deeper than surface-level jokes. Greg highlights contradictions, criticizing capitalism while enjoying its comforts, presenting grassroots messaging through highly polished platforms, and winning attention online more often than legislative victories in Congress. He suggests her real influence lives less on Capitol Hill and more in live streams and viral clips. When framed that way, it resonates with questions many viewers have quietly asked themselves.
Think about what their ideas incentivize. That would be nice. So where are their ideas going to come from? Trump. The only way they're going to create a message is based on whatever Trump does. So I have some slogans for the Democrat Party.
Oh,
wow. The Democrat Party, when you're tired of success.
Okay.
The Democrat Party, make America suck again. Democrat Party, the first choice for illegals, vandals, and dead people.
Then Greg turns his attention to her most well-known proposal, the Green New Deal. Through humor, he portrays it not as a concrete plan, but as an idealistic wish list filled with appealing promises. Universal benefits, sweeping reforms, and ambitious guarantees all sound great, until the inevitable question arises. How would it be funded? When wealth redistribution is presented as the solution, Greg responds with a reminder that financial reality doesn't disappear. The vision shifts from hopeful to impractical, and the internet reacts instantly. Supporters rush to defend her intentions, while critics repeat Greg's jokes endlessly, arguing he's pointing out genuine weaknesses rather than simply being harsh.
College tuition that you got to take care of them. They're adorable dogs, but she owns a Tesla and she owns a French bulldog, and she wants you or your dad, the electrician, to forgive her student loan. That's BS. Turn in the Tesla, sell the dog. I'll buy it.
Amid the online chaos, everyday viewers find themselves laughing, because a comedian sparring with a high-profile politician is more entertaining than much of today's scripted content. But beneath the humor is a sharper edge. Satire has long been a powerful political tool, and Greg uses it to slice through branding and slogans. His jokes suggest that ideas which shine online can falter under real-world scrutiny. The question he raises isn't cruel, it's pointed. Is modern politics about governing or about performance? As AOC leans into digital engagement and Greg leans into critique, the laughter comes not just from the jokes, but from the uncomfortable truths they reveal.
To get into a beef with the Twitter chief. On Tuesday, she tweeted, LMAO at a billionaire earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that free speech is actually an $8 a month subscription plan. That's a reference to Musk's plan to charge people $8 a month for verified blue checkmark status. But he hit back tweeting, your feedback is appreciated. Now pay $8. To be fair.
When Greg challenges her economic arguments, the humor doubles as a reality check. He contrasts fiery rhetoric with a lifestyle that appears carefully curated, highlighting the gap between messaging and presentation. His commentary on social media-driven activism suggests that politics has drifted toward spectacle. AOC responds quickly online, ensuring the exchange stays alive. Sometimes she doubles down, other times she expresses frustration, but each response fuels Greg's next joke. The cycle repeats, keeping audiences hooked. Beneath it all lies his central point. Slogans don't govern. If a vision can't explain its costs, it risks becoming just another viral moment rather than a workable plan.
To be fair, she'd love to spend the $8, but she already bought a Tesla. He also tweeted a photo of some ugly AOC merch she's trying to hawk for $58. Overpriced merch, AOC. Seems pretty capitalistic of you, which according to you makes you evil. And according to anyone paying attention, also makes you full.
That's why Greg's satire lands so effectively. It doesn't just entertain, it exposes inconsistencies. His jokes cut through dramatic speeches and carefully staged posts, revealing cracks beneath the surface. Viewers are increasingly skeptical of sweeping promises without clear follow-through, and Greg packages that skepticism in humor. While AOC continues to command attention, whether positive or critical, the sustained scrutiny shifts perception. The image transforms from inspirational to performative. The satire doesn't destroy her brand, but it reframes it, turning admiration into examination.
I mean, first of all, $80 per theater. I've made $80 in a theater, and there wasn't even a movie playing.
Wow. What do you mean?
I don't know. You know, it's no surprise. Who would go see a movie that's the opposite of entertaining? There's nothing entertaining about that. Michael Moore's colonoscopy is more entertaining than that because there's probably more twists. But it does show you how great it is to be a progressive in a liberal biased culture. She really doesn't do her job, right? She makes movies, she goes to galas, she sits for glossy butt-kissing interviews in GQ and other women.
Just as the buzz begins to settle, AOC appears on a major news program, reigniting the exchange. The story continues. Each speech, interview, or viral clip becomes fresh material. Politics starts to resemble ongoing performance, fueled by reaction and applause. AOC presents herself as a modern symbol of resistance, positioning bold proposals as solutions to massive problems. Greg responds by exaggerating those visions just enough to reveal their fragility. The humor feels familiar, like realizing you've invested in something that promised more than it delivered. Her climate-focused messaging becomes cinematic, with herself cast as the central figure in a sweeping global rescue.
It's funny, that's mean. You're
right,
mean. You're being mean.
But I'm fascinated they thought there was an audience for this outside of like Earth Justice or the Justice Democrats, because who really wanted to go and see this thing? And then tomorrow you'll have an article that we'll have to talk about, which is that kids all over America are having nightmares about climate change. Well, no wonder.
Well, Jessica, what about the fact that the climate activists are very much, they're very much enthused about what they...
Greg doesn't buy into the spectacle. He hears the pitch and asks the same question every time. Who's paying for it? In his framing, the proposals begin to resemble an ambitious fundraising page rather than enforceable policy. His strength lies in delivery. Instead of debating spreadsheets, he jokes about budgets scribbled hastily and plans held together by optimism alone. That's why the commentary spreads so quickly, because the jokes stick. Supporters cheer AOC's passion, but Greg's humor travels farther, turning serious proposals into punchlines that dominate online conversations.
OC was on 60 Minutes last night. Quite a feat for a newcomer. Must be all her great new ideas.
People are going to have to start paying their fair share in taxes. Once you get to like the tippy tops, on your $10 millionth dollar, sometimes you see tax rates as high as 60 or 70%.
What an expression. Now, the real story isn't AOC's very old ideas. It's the media's gushy view of her. Even with her old ideas, she gets on 60 Minutes. The past is called the future, and you better look.
Conservative media eagerly amplifies Greg's remarks, while the wider audience watches the exchange unfold like episodic entertainment. Two very different figures dominate the screen, one driven by activism and visibility, the other by satire and skepticism. Together, they create a spectacle that says something larger about modern politics. Attention fuels influence, but attention alone doesn't equal results. Greg's humor reminds viewers that trends don't replace policy, viral clips don't write laws, and passionate speeches don't automatically solve complex problems. His satire acts as a reminder that visibility and effectiveness aren't the same thing.
Dancing video from last week. The media created a fake story that conservatives attacked her over this delightful trifle. Not really. In fact, the only stories written about the dance were by liberals using it to falsely smear the right. So the press creates a shield around her in which any criticism must be due to sexism or bigotry, when in fact it's in their heads and not ours. But the strategy works by preventing real criticism about her actual beliefs, which are retreads of horrible ideas from previous centuries. Socialism with a smile, fascism among friends, Venezuela meets Vegas.
And here's the final irony. AOC shows no sign of slowing down. Her energy, flair, and constant engagement keep her in headlines. And that's exactly why Greg keeps watching. Without the theatrics, much of his material disappears. In an odd way, they fuel each other. Her visibility feeds his jokes, and his jokes amplify her presence. The audience watches, entertained and curious, as the cycle continues. This isn't a one-time moment. Every new proposal, clip, or viral post becomes fresh material. If AOC is politics' most recognizable influencer, Greg Gutfeld remains the commentator who never leaves the room. And as long as the spotlight stays on, the exchange continues. Jokes landing, reactions spreading, and the spectacle rolling on.